The battlefield was silent for a moment. Then the sound of arrows filled the air. Whistling like deadly birds, the human soldier, covered in dust and blood, ran through the broken ruins. He had been fighting for hours, and his body was weak. But his eyes were still sharp. He could hear the screams of soldiers, both human and alien, echoing around him. Suddenly, his gaze fell on something small, something trembling in the shadow of a broken wall. It was a little alien girl, her eyes wide with fear. Her skin was pale blue, glowing faintly under the smoke-filled sky. She hugged her knees tightly, trying to hide, but she was exposed. And above her, arrows were already falling. The soldier did not think. His heart moved before his mind. In that instant, he threw his shield aside and rushed forward. His boots crushed the mud as he sprinted. The arrows rained down faster, sharp and merciless. He dove in front of her, spreading his arms wide. The sharp points tore into his armor, breaking through leather and cloth. Pain shot through his chest and arms. He staggered but did not fall. His body became a wall of flesh and blood, protecting the alien girl behind him. She gasped, her hands trembling as she reached out to touch his torn armor. Another wave of arrows came, and more pierced his body. The soldier's breath grew heavy, but he refused to move away. Every muscle in him screamed. Yet he stood tall, like a broken tree still refusing to fall. The alien girl's eyes filled with tears. She had never seen anyone take such pain for her, not even from her own kind. Finally, the storm of arrows slowed. The human dropped to one knee, coughing blood. His hands shook as he pulled an arrow from his chest. His vision blurred, but he turned to look at her. His lips moved, whispering words she barely understood. "Stay alive," he said weakly. Before collapsing on the ground, the alien girl crawled toward him, her small hands pressed against his wounds. Her heart pounded in panic. She could not believe a human. The ones her people called monsters had shielded her with his own life. She tried to shake him awake, but his eyes had already closed. The battlefield continued to roar around them. Fire spread across the ruins. Warriors shouted and fought, but in that small corner, only the human and the little alien girl mattered. She held his hand tightly, her tears falling on his bloodied armor. Moments later, shadows appeared over them. Tall alien warriors with long spears surrounded the girl and the fallen soldier. Their leader stepped forward, his face hard and cold. He looked down at the wounded human with anger. Then his eyes moved to the girl. "What is this?" he demanded. His voice was sharp like steel. The girl's voice shook. He saved me," she whispered. He stood in front of the arrows. Her words made the warriors murmur among themselves. They could not believe it. A human giving his body to protect one of their own. It was impossible. The leader frowned. His eyes narrowed as he studied the human. The soldier's body was covered in arrows, his chest rising slowly but still alive, barely alive. "Take him," the leader ordered, though his tone was uncertain. The warriors hesitated. "But he is human." One of them argued, "Why save him? He is the enemy." The little alien girl cried louder, holding the soldier's hand. "Please," she begged. "He is not like the others. He saved me. He cannot die like this." Her small voice trembled, but it carried weight. The warriors looked at each other, their expressions uncertain. Finally, the leader sighed. "Bring him to the healing tent. If he lives, we will decide his fate later." Two warriors lifted the soldier's broken body, carrying him with caution. His blood dripped onto the dirt, leaving a trail behind. The girl followed close, never letting go of his hand, her eyes full of fear and confusion. As they moved through the ruins, whispers spread among the tribe. A human had stepped into the rain of arrows. Not to kill, but to protect. Some called it foolish, others called it madness. But deep inside, a seed of doubt was planted in their hearts. Perhaps humans were not only monsters. Perhaps there was something else inside them, something stronger. The soldier did not hear any of this. His world was already slipping into darkness. But in that darkness, he remembered the girl's face. the terror in her eyes, and the relief when he stood before her. He smiled faintly. Even as his body collapsed into unconsciousness, the little alien girl walked beside him, her small hands shaking. She had no words to explain what had happened, but her heart told her. One thing, this human was not like the others. He was different, and for that, she would never forget him. The scene ended with the soldier lying silent on the stretcher, his chest still rising slowly, his future uncertain, his body scarred, but one truth was clear: his sacrifice had already changed something in the alien girl's heart. The soldier's eyes opened slowly. His body felt heavy. His chest burned with pain. The world above him was made of strange fabric, glowing with soft light. He was lying on a bed made of animal skins. The smell of herbs and smoke filled the air. When he tried to move, sharp pain shot through his body. Arrows had left deep wounds, and though bandages covered them, the scars underneath throbbed like fire. He groaned, his hand pressing against his chest. That was when he noticed he was not alone. The little alien girl sat beside him. Her large eyes watched him closely. She had not left his side since the moment he fell. Her small hands clutched a bowl of glowing liquid, and she whispered, "Drink, it will help." Her voice was soft, almost afraid, yet the human saw no fear of him in her eyes, only worry. He reached for the bowl, his hands trembling. She helped him drink, guiding the liquid to his lips. It was bitter, but it cooled the burning in his chest. The sound of footsteps entered the tent. Tall alien healers stood around him. Their robes shimmered in pale blue, and their faces were marked with silver paint. One healer looked at him with suspicion. "Why save this human?" he asked sharply. "He is our enemy." The little girl stood quickly, her small body blocking their view. "He saved me," she cried. "He took the arrows meant for me." "You cannot call him enemy." Her voice shook, but her courage surprised even the healers. The lead healer narrowed his eyes. "Perhaps," he said coldly. "But one act does not change what his kind has done. Humans are destroyers. They take, they kill, they burn." His words cut deep, and the others nodded in agreement. The soldier listened silently. His breath was weak, but his eyes held strength. He forced his voice out. "Not all humans," he whispered. "Some fight to protect, not destroy." His words were rough, but they carried weight. The tent grew quiet. The little girl turned to the healers, her eyes shining with tears. "He protected me when no one else was there. If you let him die, his sacrifice will mean nothing." Her words struck their hearts, and though they doubted, they could not ignore her plea. The lead healer sighed, placing more herbs on his wounds. "Very well, he will live for now, but if he betrays us, his life is mine to take." As the days passed, the soldier remained in the healing tent. His body healed slowly, but each night the pain reminded him of the arrows he had taken. The alien girl visited him every day, bringing food and water. She asked questions about humans, their world, their families. At first, he answered carefully, his voice low and slow. He told her about the sun that warmed the human lands, about children who laughed while playing in green fields, about mothers who held their babies close. The girl listened with wonder. Her people had painted humans as monsters, but the stories he told were full of love and hope. One evening, as the fire burned low in the center of the tent, the alien leader entered. His tall figure cast a shadow over them. His eyes were sharp, filled with both suspicion and curiosity. He looked at the human soldier lying weak, then at the girl sitting by his side. "You saved her life," the leader said firmly. "But saving one does not erase the past. If you wish to live among us, you must prove yourself." His voice was like thunder in the quiet tent. The soldier forced himself to sit up, pain rushing through his body, but he did not lower his eyes. "How?" he asked simply. The leader's lips curved in a cold smile. "There is a forest beyond our walls, a cursed place filled with beasts and poison. If you are truly different, you will go there and bring back the fruit of firelight. Only then will I believe your scars mean something." The little alien girl gasped. "But that forest is death," she cried. "No one returns alive." The leader ignored her, his eyes locked on the human. "Do this, and you may live. Refuse, and you die." Here, the tent grew cold with silence. The soldier felt the weight of every eye on him. He looked down at his hands, scarred and trembling. Then he turned to the girl, her face pale with fear. In her eyes he saw something: faith, a belief that he would not fail her. "I will go," he said at last, his voice steady despite the weakness in his chest. The alien leader nodded, turning away. His cloak swept behind him as he left the tent, leaving the air heavy with tension. The girl grabbed the soldier's hand tightly. "You should not," she whispered. "They want you to die." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Why do you keep risking yourself?" The soldier looked at her, his face tired but calm. "Because life is not about how long we live," he said slowly. "It is about who we protect while we breathe." His words silenced her. Her heart pounded, and though fear twisted inside she felt something new: trust. The fire in the tent flickered, casting shadows on the walls. Outside, the night grew darker. The soldier closed his eyes, gathering strength for the trial ahead. His body carried many scars, but his spirit was unbroken. The little alien girl whispered to herself, "Please don't let him die," as she sat beside him until the fire faded. The morning came with a heavy silence. The camp was restless. Whispers followed the human soldier as he stepped outside the healing tent. His body was still weak, his wounds half healed, but the scars across his chest reminded everyone of the arrows he had taken. The alien leader stood tall in the center of the gathering. His sharp eyes scanned the soldier. "Today you prove yourself," he declared. His voice carried like a drumbeat through the camp. "You will enter the cursed forest and bring back the food of firelight. If you succeed, you may live. If you fail, your blood will return to the earth." The little alien girl rushed to his side. Her hands clung to his arm. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. "They only want you dead." But the soldier's eyes were calm. He bent down and spoke softly. "I have to. Trust is not given, it is earned." The tribe watched in silence as he was handed only a simple spear. Its wooden shaft was old, its tip dull. The leader gave nothing more: no armor, no guide, only a task that had killed many before him. The soldier gripped the spear tightly, his jaw set with quiet resolve. The forest loomed beyond the camp's walls. Its tall black trees reached into the sky like claws. Mist curled through the air, carrying the sound of strange creatures. Even the warriors who guarded the camp would not enter that place. The human stepped forward. Each footfall echoed with determination. The girl tried to follow, but the guards held her back. She shouted his name, tears filling her eyes. He looked over his shoulder, gave her a faint smile, and then disappeared into the shadows of the cursed forest. Inside, the forest was alive with whispers. The branches cracked under his boots. Unseen eyes watched him from the darkness. He tightened his grip on the spear, his scars aching with every movement. He pushed deeper, searching for the glowing fruit of firelight. Hours passed, the mist grew thicker. The soldier's breath turned heavy. Suddenly, a low growl echoed around him. He froze, slowly turning. He saw them: two beasts, with dark fur and glowing red eyes. Their teeth glistened with hunger. Their claws scraped against the stones. The beast circled him. His heart pounded, but he did not run. He planted his spear in the ground, his feet steady. One beast lunged first. He swung the spear hard, the dull tip catching its shoulder. The creature howled, slashing across his arm. Blood spilled, but he did not fall. The second beast attacked from behind. The soldier rolled to the ground, his wounds burning. He pushed himself up, driving the spear into the beast's side. The creature roared, thrashing wildly, before collapsing into the dirt. The other beast growled and retreated, vanishing back into the mist. The soldier leaned against a tree, his chest heaving. His arm bled heavily, but his eyes stayed sharp. He could not stop. He wiped the blood from his face and pressed forward. At last, after endless steps, he found it, in the middle of a clearing, glowing softly in the darkness. Hung the fruit of firelight. Its skin was golden, shining as if it held the sun itself. The tree that carried it was twisted and ancient, its roots spreading like veins across the ground. The soldier reached for it, but the air grew colder. A shadow moved. The surviving beast had returned, larger and angrier. Its eyes burned brighter, and it leapt with a scream. The soldier spun, lifting the spear. The beast crashed against him, knocking him hard to the ground. Pain shot through his body. His scars tore open again. The beast's claws slashed across his chest. For a moment, the soldier felt his strength fading. But then, in his mind, he saw the face of the little alien girl, her wide eyes full of faith. He could not give up. Not now. With a cry, he drove the broken spear into the beast's throat. The creature's roar shook the forest. And then silence fell. The beast collapsed beside him, its red eyes fading. The soldier lay gasping, his body trembling. Slowly, he pulled himself up, limping to the tree. With his bleeding hands, he plucked the glowing fruit of firelight. Its warmth spread through his fingers. He held it close to his chest and whispered, "For trust." When he returned to the camp at dawn, the tribe gasped. His body was torn, his clothes soaked in blood. But in his hand he carried the fruit, glowing brightly against the dark sky. The alien leader's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. The people gathered around, whispering. Some bowed their heads, others stepped back. The human had done what their own warriors could not. The little alien girl broke free from the crowd and ran to him, her eyes full of tears and joy. She touched the glowing fruit in his hand, then looked up at him. "I knew you would come back," she whispered. The soldier fell to his knees, the fruit still clutched in his hand, his breath ragged, his scars bleeding once more. But in his heart there was no regret. He had faced the cursed forest, and he had survived, and now the tribe could no longer deny it. This human was not like the others. The campfire crackled gently, sparks dancing into the night sky. The human soldier sat by the flames, his body wrapped in fresh bandages. His wounds from the cursed forest were deep, and his scars old and new crossed like rivers on his skin. He held the glowing fruit of firelight in his lap, its warmth a reminder of the trial he had survived. The tribe gathered at a distance, whispering among themselves. Some still doubted, but many looked at him with new eyes. They had seen their strongest warriors fall to the forest. Yet this human had returned. He had returned scarred, but alive. The little alien girl sat beside him, her hands busy crushing herbs into a bowl. She pressed them gently onto his chest. Her eyes moved over the marks left by the arrows, the claws of beasts, and the old wounds from battles long past. She whispered, "So many scars." Her voice trembled with sadness. The soldier looked down at her, his face calm. "Each scar tells a story," he said quietly. "Not of pain, but of survival." He lifted her small hand and placed it on his chest. "These are the proof that I chose to stand again and again." The girl's eyes filled with tears. "You stood for me too," she whispered. "You did not have to." "But you did." She lowered her head, her small fingers tracing the scar where the arrow had pierced his heart. "Why?" she asked, her voice soft, almost breaking. The soldier's gaze drifted toward the flames. His voice was steady, though his heart carried heavy weight. "Because no child should die in fear when someone has the strength to protect." He turned back to her, his eyes gentle. "That is the truth I live by." Her chest tightened. Her people had always told her that humans were selfish, cruel, destroyers of life. But sitting there, looking at him, she saw only courage, sacrifice, and a strength that was born from kindness. Outside the circle of firelight, the alien leader stood, his sharp eyes never leaving the soldier. He saw the way the child trusted him, the way the soldier's words carried weight. The whispers of the tribe reached his ears. Some now spoke of the human as a protector, not an enemy. This troubled him, yet also stirred something long buried. As the night deepened, the girl stayed by the soldier's side. When the pain in his chest made him wince, she pressed fresh herbs into the wounds. When his body shook from exhaustion, she whispered stories of her people to keep him awake. And when silence fell, she simply held his hand. The soldier, tired and broken, felt something he had not known in many years, a bond. Not of blood, not of war, but of trust. He closed his eyes, resting his head against the log behind him. His scars throbbed, but the warmth of the fire and the girl's presence kept him steady. The next morning, the tribe gathered once more. The fruit of firelight was placed before the elders. Its golden glow lit up the tent. The elder healer spoke. The trial has been passed. The cursed forest did not claim him. He looked at the soldier with grudging respect. Perhaps he is different, but not all were convinced. A warrior stepped forward, his voice sharp. He bleeds like us, but he is still human. How can we trust him fully? The camp fell into silence. The question lingered like smoke in the air. The alien girl stood up, her small figure trembling but her voice strong. "I trust him," she said firmly. "I saw him take arrows for me. I saw him fight the beasts. For us, I saw him come back when no one else could. If you do not believe, then believe me." Her words silenced even the loudest voices. The tribe looked at her with surprise. A child speaking against warriors and leaders was rare, yet her courage echoed through the camp. The leader stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the soldier. "You have proven strength," he said slowly. "But scars alone are not enough. Scars fade, trust does not. You must show us more. For now, you will remain under watch, but you will not be harmed." The soldier bowed his head, accepting the words without anger. He knew trust was not built in a day. His scars might tell stories, but stories needed time to change hearts. That night, as the fire burned low, the girl sat beside him again. Her voice was soft but curious. "Do your scars hurt?" she asked. The soldier smiled faintly. "Some do. Some remind me of pain. Others remind me why I chose to fight. But most remind me that I survived." He looked at her, his eyes reflecting the flames. "And some remind me of the people I saved." Her heart swelled with emotion. She pressed her small hand gently on his chest. "Then I will never forget this scar," she whispered. "Because it was made for me." The soldier said nothing, but his chest felt lighter. His scars no longer seemed like chains. For the first time, they felt like proof of something greater. Outside, the wind howled through the dark sky, a warning of storms to come. But inside the circle of firelight, a bond stronger than fear was forming. A bond of scars, trust, and silent promises. The soldier closed his eyes, the warmth of the fire and the child's faith wrapping around him. Tomorrow the world would test him again, but tonight he knew one truth. He was no longer carrying his scars alone. The night was calm, the fire burning low in the center of the alien camp. The human soldier rested near the flames, his body heavy with scars. His breathing was steady. Though his heart never truly found peace, the little alien girl slept beside him, curled against the warmth of a blanket. But beyond the camp walls, in the deep shadows of the forest, danger was moving. A rival alien faction had been watching. They hated humans even more than this tribe. To them, humans were vermin, worthy only of death, and any tribe that sheltered one deserved to burn. At dawn, the sky turned gray with smoke. The rival warriors marched silently, their bows ready, their torches burning. When the first arrow struck the wooden gates, the tribe woke in panic. Shouts filled the air, women screamed, children cried. The enemy had come. The human soldier rose quickly, his body aching from wounds old and new. He grabbed the dull spear given to him before. His scars burned as if warning him of the fight to come. The little alien girl clung to his arm. "Please don't," she cried. "You are not healed yet." He placed a scarred hand on her head. "If I do nothing, they will kill us all," he said firmly. His voice was calm, but inside, he felt the weight of death pressing close. The camp erupted into chaos. The enemy arrows rained down, piercing tents and striking warriors. Fire spread across the wooden walls. The alien leader shouted orders, but fear ran through the tribe like poison. They were unprepared for such a sudden attack. The soldier stepped forward, planting himself between the flames and the children. His spear rose, and when the enemy rushed through the broken gates, he struck. The dull blade tore into one warrior's side. Another fell to his knee. The human fought like a man with nothing left to lose. The tribe watched in shock. He was scarred, weak, and bleeding. Yet he moved with the strength of 10. Each strike was fierce. Each step carried purpose. His body was a shield, his scars proof of his unbroken will. But the enemy leader was not. Like the others, a massive warrior with black armor and burning eyes stepped into the camp. His bow was strung with a cord of bone, and his arrows dripped with poison. He raised his hand, and the battlefield grew still. The leader's voice thundered. "You shelter a human," he shouted. "For this your tribe will burn. We will cut out his heart and hang it above your gates." His words made the tribe tremble. Some even looked toward the soldier with doubt, wondering if protecting him had brought this doom. The soldier did not flinch. His voice rose above the fear. "If it is my life you want, then take me," he shouted. "But leave them." His chest rose and fell with pain, but his eyes did not waver. The rival leader sneered. "Then face me, human. Let us see if your scars can save you now." The two warriors met in the burning camp. The enemy's poisoned arrows flew fast. The soldier ducked, rolled, and struck with his spear. His body screamed in pain, every scar tearing open, but he refused to fall. The little alien girl screamed his name. Her hands reached out, but the tribe held her back. The alien leader watched with clenched fists, torn between stepping in or letting the duel decide their fate. The fight was brutal. The rival leader's arrows cut across the soldier's chest and arms. Poison burned into his blood, yet with each strike, the human fought harder. He remembered every scar, every moment he chose to stand, and he told himself, this battle would not be his last. At last, when the rival leader raised his bow for the final strike, the soldier lunged forward. His spear drove into the warrior's chest. The leader gasped, his poison-tipped arrow falling harmlessly to the ground. With a roar, the soldier twisted the spear, and the enemy fell. The battlefield froze. The rival warriors stared in shock. Their leader lay dead at the human's feet. His scars glistened with blood, but his eyes burned with fire. The enemies broke, retreating into the forest, their torches left behind. The camp erupted in cries of victory and disbelief. The alien tribe rushed to their children, to their wounded. But all eyes soon turned to the human soldier. He stood swaying in the smoke, his spear broken, his body covered in fresh wounds. Then he fell to his knees, the poison burning in his veins. The little alien girl ran to him, wrapping her arms around his scarred body. "You can't leave me," she cried. "You saved us all." Her tears soaked his bloodied chest. The alien leader approached slowly. His eyes, once cold, now held something different, respect. He looked at the soldier, then at the child clinging to him, and finally raised his voice. "This human has given more than any of us. His scars are not shame. They are honor. Remember this night, for without him, we would all be dead." The tribe bowed their heads. Some even placed their hands over their hearts. For the first time, they looked at the human not as a monster, but as a warrior who bled for them. The soldier's eyes flickered open. His lips curved into the faintest smile. He whispered to the girl, every scar was worth it. Before his head tilted back and darkness claimed him once more. The camp was silent. The battle was won. But the question remained, would their scarred protector live to see the dawn? The camp was quiet after the battle. Smoke still rose from broken huts, and the ground was dark with ash and blood. The human soldier lay in the healer's tent again, his body broken more than ever. His chest rose and fell slowly, as if each Breath was a war of its own. The little alien girl never left his side. Her small hands held his scarred arm, her eyes red from crying. She whispered to him again and again, "You will wake up. You must. You are my guardian." Her words trembled. But her heart refused to give up. Around the camp, the tribe repaired what they could. Some argued that keeping the human had brought this disaster. Others silenced them, reminding everyone that without him, the camp would be gone entirely. His scars had bought their survival. The alien leader walked into the tent. His tall frame cast a long shadow over the soldier's bed. He looked at the girl first, then at the human. His eyes were unreadable. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then finally, his voice rumbled low. "He should be dead. But he is not." He paused. "Perhaps his scars are not curses, but shields given by the stars." The girl looked up at him, her voice sharp. "He saved us, all of us," she said. "If you can't see that, then you are blind." Her words surprised even the leader. No child had ever spoken to him so boldly. The leader bent down, studying the soldier's face. "He is strong," he admitted. "Stronger than many of our warriors. He carries wounds, yet stands again. That is the mark of honor." His tone shifted, softer now. "If he survives this, then he will no longer be an outsider." The girl's heart leapt. She gripped the soldier's hand tighter. "He will survive," she whispered fiercely. "He always does." Days passed, and the soldier's body fought. The poison burned through him, but the healer's herbs and the girl's endless care kept him alive. Each night, she told him stories of her people, and each morning, she begged him to open his eyes. At last, on the fourth night, his eyes flickered open. His vision blurred, but he saw her, the little girl with tears shining in her eyes. "You stayed," he whispered weakly. "I will always stay," she answered. Her smile broke through the pain in his chest. The camp erupted in relief when they learned the human had awakened. Warriors bowed their heads. Mothers brought food to the tent. Even the healer who once wished him dead now muttered, "His spirit is too strong for death." That evening, the tribe gathered around a great fire. The alien leader stood before them, his voice loud and heavy. "Tonight, we honor the one who stood against arrows, against beasts, and against our enemies tonight. We honor the human who has earned his place among us." The soldier was brought to the fire, still weak, but standing with the help of the girl. His scars glistened in the firelight, each one telling a story the tribe could no longer deny. The leader raised his staff high. "Every scar on his body is proof of courage," he declared. "He did not spill blood for himself, but for us, for our children, for our tribe. From this day, his scars are not his alone. They belong to all of us." The crowd roared. The tribe bowed to him. Some even touched their foreheads to the ground. The human looked around, his heart heavy with emotion. He had never seen such respect, not even from his own people. The little alien girl beamed with pride. Her small hands clapped as she shouted, "He is our guardian." Her voice carried across the camp, and the tribe repeated her words, "Guardian, guardian." For the first time, the soldier felt the weight of his scars lift. They were no longer marks of pain, but of honor. They were no longer his burden alone. That night, the tribe celebrated. Food was shared, songs were sung. The fire burned high into the stars. The soldier sat quietly near the flames, the girl by his side. She leaned against him, her small head resting on his scarred arm. He looked down at her, his voice soft. "All of this, every scar, every wound, was worth it," he said, "because it brought me here with you." The girl smiled, her eyes closing in peace. For her, the human was no longer an outsider, no longer a stranger. He was family. But as the fire burned bright, the alien leader's eyes turned toward the dark forest. His thoughts heavy. He knew enemies still watched, and storms of war were not yet over. The human had earned respect. Yes, but more trials would come. The soldier felt the same. His scars reminded him that peace was never permanent. Yet as the night carried on, surrounded by the voices of a tribe that now accepted him. He allowed himself a moment of rest. The flames danced in his eyes, and the voices of respect echoed in his heart. His scars had finally found meaning. The dawn rose quietly over the camp. Smoke from the battle still lingered in the air, but the sounds of life returned. Children laughed as they chased each other between the rebuilt huts. Warriors sharpened their blades, and mothers sang softly. As they worked, inside one of the tents, the human soldier opened his eyes. The pain in his body was still there, but lighter than before. His scars throbbed, yet they no longer felt like chains. Instead, they felt like proof of what he had endured and proof of what he had chosen to protect. The little alien girl sat beside him, her head resting against the edge of the bed. She had fallen asleep holding his hand. When he stirred, she woke with a small gasp. Her eyes widened, and a smile spread across her face. "You're awake," she whispered joyfully. He gave a faint smile, his voice rough but steady. "I told you I would not leave." Tears filled her eyes, but this time they were tears of relief. She squeezed his hand tightly. "You kept your promise," she said. "You stayed." Later that day, the tribe gathered once more around the great fire. The alien leader stood before his people, his staff raised high. His voice carried over the crowd. "We are alive because of him. The human who once was an outsider now stands as one of us." The tribe cheered. Their voices thundered through the valley. "Guardian, guardian," they shouted. The human soldier was brought forward, still weak but walking with his head held high. His scars caught the firelight, shining like medals of survival. The leader looked at him with respect. "Your scars are not curses. They are the marks of honor. Each one tells the story of what you gave, not for yourself, but for us." He bent his head slightly, a gesture no one had ever seen before. The tribe followed, bowing to the scarred human. The soldier stood in silence, his heart heavy. He had never been bowed to, never been honored in such a way. His voice was low when he finally spoke. "I did not fight for glory. I fought because it was right. I fought because she," he gestured to the little alien girl, "deserved to live without fear." The girl rushed to his side, wrapping her arms around him. Her small voice rose. "He is more than a guardian. He is family." The crowd murmured in agreement. Their fear of him had turned into something else: trust, respect, even love. For the first time, the human was not just a guest in their camp. He was one of them. As the celebration grew, the soldier sat by the fire, the girl leaning against him. His mind drifted over the long path that had brought him here. He remembered the arrows raining down, the beasts of the cursed forest, the poisoned duel with the rival leader, and every scar that burned into his body. He looked at the little girl, her eyes glowing in the firelight, and whispered, "Every scar was worth it, because they brought me to this moment." She smiled softly, her small hand resting on the largest scar across his chest. "Then I will carry them with you," she said. "Your scars are not yours alone anymore." The soldier felt something deep inside him shift. For years, his scars had been his burden, reminders of pain and loss. But now, in this strange camp under alien skies, those same scars had become his gift. They were no longer marks of survival. Only they were marks of belonging. As the night stretched on, songs filled the air. The tribe danced around the fire, laughter mixing with the crackle of flames. The soldier watched them, a faint smile on his lips. He was no longer alone, no longer a wandering warrior, but even in that moment of peace, he knew the world beyond their camp was still dangerous. Enemies would come again. Storms would rise. His scars told him that battles never truly ended. Yet he was ready. For now, he had something worth fighting for, not just survival, but trust, family, and a future. The alien leader approached quietly, his voice deep. "You carry many scars, human, but tonight, know this: they are no longer a mark of your suffering. They are a mark of our gratitude. When our children tell stories of this time, your scars will be remembered as the reason we live." The soldier bowed his head, unable to speak. His chest tightened, not with pain, but with emotion. For the first time in his life, his scars felt like light, not shadow. The little alien girl lifted her face toward him, her smile soft but full of hope. "From now on, you are not alone," she said firmly. "You are ours." The soldier placed a scarred hand over his heart. His eyes shone with firelight and unspoken promise. "And I will protect you, always," he whispered. The fire burned high into the night sky, carrying sparks like stars. The tribe's voices rose together, strong and proud, and in the center of it all, a scarred human sat among them. No longer an enemy, no longer an outsider. Every scar on his body had a story, and every story had brought him here in the end. The scars were not his punishment. They were his reward. Asterisk.